Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena and I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Today's video is a special homeschool collaboration that is hosted by Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite games we play here in our homeschool. We have a ton of games that we have collected. A lot have been collected from this past year, but we have a few favorites that we have kept with us throughout our moves. They're entirely too many to mention just in this video, otherwise we'd be here all day. So I tried to pinpoint it down to just a couple of our favorites. I do want to let you know that my age range in my kiddos is pretty big. From my oldest to my youngest, there's a pretty big gap in there. And so when we're picking out games, we have to be really creative with what we are picking out so that the kids can play together. So my oldest is about to be 15 and my youngest has just turned 7. And so there's a pretty big gap in there, and then my daughter is right smack in the middle, but she is 2 years older than my youngest, which makes my kiddos about 15, 9, and 7. So the age range between them can be kind of tricky when we're looking for games, but we do have a couple of favorites that have worked out well for all of them, and then of course some that are my oldest his favorites, and then my youngest their favorites. So let me see if I can give you just a couple for each kind of category there. One of the games, surprisingly, that all the kiddos like to play, and I have played with them, is Jumanji. We picked up this game on one of our random thrift store shops, and we found that this was a fun game we could all play together. I absolutely love when that happens because it is just great that there's one game all of us can play together.
Guy 1. Flying in from the sky, he's in a bad mood. Oh no, he's hungry. The game is not food. That sounds like something out of Dr. Seuss.
Mm-hmm. Or Dr. Zone.
So, go ahead. Get ready. Go.
My oldest was actually interested in watching the movie Jumanji, and when he found out that it was an actual game, he was on the hunt to find it. And like I said, we were blessed enough to find it on one of our thrift store hauls. It is a sort of cooperative game in the sense that when one player gets into trouble or a predicament, all the players are rolling the dice and trying to get that player out of their predicament so that the whole game can be moved on. But there is one winner in the game and not the entire team in itself, if I'm remembering correctly. I think I am. But it is a fun game, and it's one that a wide range of people can play. Now for my youngest, he does usually need a little bit of help, especially with the reading of the cards and things like that. But all in all, he gets the gist of it after a couple of turns, and he can play with all of us. Another game that we can all play together is a co-op game, and that is Wildcraft. I really love this game. This is a herbal adventure game. It says it's for ages 4 and over and between 1 to 4 players. It says the typical game round takes about 45 minutes to an hour, but I found that we could play a little bit quicker than that too. It just depends on how fast you're moving and the cards you collect. But this game is really fun because it teaches you about different herbal remedies for first aid. So you get different ailments as you're going along your adventure, and then you collect different herbal plants that can help with the ailments. The fun in this is that you don't have to have any prior herbal knowledge or remedies to know what to do. It's all printed right on the cards here for you, and it's all true. So for instance, in this one, the wasping, it gives you a couple of different pictures on the remedies that can help, the little herbs that can help with that. And in real life, these remedies really do help with your wasping if you have one. So I love that it is a teaching game, so it's practical for them, but it's set in a fun game style learning. And so I really love that aspect of the game, that it is teaching them about these different herbal remedies and small first aid things that they can do for cuts and scrapes and other little problems like that. And it's something that they may remember in the future just from having played this game. I also really love this as a cooperative game so that everybody works together and there's just no one winner. That means that for this particular game, you all go on this hike to get a basket of blueberries, I believe it is, for grandma, and then you all have to get back down the mountain together with a certain amount of blueberries. It's turned out to be a really fun game, and one that even I will sit down with them and play, or they can play on their own. Now, a fun game that my older will play with his little brother and sister, but it does take kind of some coercing, is this Pete the Cat game. It's gonna make some noise here. There we go, not too bad. This Pete the Cat game is the Missing Cupcakes game, and we actually found this at our local grocery store. My son is a fan of Pete the Cat, and so we picked it up, I believe maybe for Christmas, or it could have been his birthday, I'm not sure when. But we picked it up because the character. And then we found that it was just a really fun game for the littles especially. There's no reading required in this game. Your younger ones and your struggling readers can play along and not feel the pressure of having too much to read. Sometimes I found that when there's too much information on the cards, it can get frustrating instead of fun. The age on this game says ages 3 and up, and it's for players 2 to 4 players. And what they do is work together to get the missing cupcakes for the birthday party. And they do that by acting out little things that are on the card, and the other players have to guess what they're acting out. And so it is an active game for them. They get to move their bodies, and which is great for littles, especially for my youngest, who is very active and a sensory seeker. So this game lets him get up and dance around and move his body in the midst of playing the game. Now, a game for my oldest that is a learning game and he's found he really enjoys is this Act Your Wage game by Dave Ramsey. We actually checked this game out from our library first. They have games there, board games at our local library that we are allowed to check out and play. And we found out that we really enjoyed this game, and so we went online and searched and purchased it for our home. This game is a great teaching game, I feel, for personal finance and debts and things that can kind of just gain up on you that maybe you don't always think to share with your kids. The object in this game is to get out of debt. Each player gets a career card with how much money you make and what size family you have, and then if you have a family, and then you also get a couple more cards, I believe it's 3, with different kinds of debts on it. And so you could have school loans or car loans or a home loan or things like that. And then your goal is to get rid of all of your debt cards while making sure that you have enough money to pay your bills, because the bills will come up as you are playing along on the board. If you follow Dave Ramsey and you know his baby steps, you may be familiar with some of the verbiage in here. I do want to let you know that this game does have on some of the cards, it will have a Proverbs or some kind of scripture on some of the cards. So if that's something that is not of interest to you, this game may not be of interest to you. Also, if you strongly disagree with Dave Ramsey's baby steps, this may not be a style game that you would enjoy. We really enjoy it. We love the conversations that it's opened up in our home, especially with our oldest, because he's the one that's mostly playing with it. Our daughter has tried. She's teamed up with one of us. I would say one of her parents. That's us. We're her parents. She's teamed up with one of us and sort of play, but she loses interest in it before the game is over, which is understandable because she's not kind of the age range yet for this game. But this is a fun game that my husband and I enjoy sitting down with my son and playing ever so often. And then some other fun games we have found on Teachers Pay Teachers, and those are learning games that I like to put in throughout our day. If we're having a hard day, sometimes we'll just pull out some of these more educational type games and play these. Or if it's a Fun Friday, I had gone into Fun Fridays really wanting to make them fun, clearly, but also I still wanted to have some sort of educational aspect to it. So if we were doing field trips or we were watching documentaries, that was when we did our movie studies, or we were playing more of these educational type games. I do strongly believe if you've seen some of my other homeschool videos, there's a lot of learning to be had in play. And so I think play is also important. We try to kind of balance it out that way, but life gets lifey, and sometimes the balance tilts one side or the other. But some of the fun games that we have found on Teachers Pay Teachers allows you to print out your own board. This is just one example. This one is from Simply Steam, and I will link it down below. I'll try to find it for you on Teachers Pay Teachers website, or if she has her own personal website, I will link it for you down below. But you have several different board options that you can print out, and as you can see, they're pretty small. Sometimes what we've done is connected two boards together. So where it says finish, we haven't finished. We've just gone on to a second board if we wanted to make the game last a little bit longer. And then there are a bunch of different cards that you can print out with lots of different skills that you may be teaching your children. So this one is analog time, telling telling time with the analog clock, and then it also has the digital clock format in here too. And so you'll go through and look at it. This particular one is to look at the time on the clock and what time it will be in 10 minutes. And then if they get the answer correct, they get to move however many spaces is written on the back. And so this one clearly is about telling time and teaching your children that skill. Another one is place value. That's what we have printed out here. We also have printed out even and odd numbers, and then I believe this one is just number lines and missing numbers, so it's kind of sequencing numbers. But there are a ton of different ones that you can print out, not just these that I have. And we just printed them on fun colored paper just to make it a little bit more fun, but you can print it on whatever kind of paper you have lying around. Also, I printed this on cardstock just so it lasts a little bit longer, but I do put it into a sheet protector or one of those dry erase pockets when we play, just like I said, so it will last a smidge longer. Another thing about putting it into one of those dry erase pockets is that if you are out and about in the car, you can take this along with you. Just throw one of these in your bag or in your backpack. We, as you see, just have these rubber band together, but you can put them in a little plastic case if you wanted to, if you felt like it would stay better in that way. But so far, honestly, the rubber band has worked for us. But if you put this in one of those pocket protector pages, you can use, instead of having to use the actual little figures to move it around, you could use a dry erase marker as they move, and then they could play in the car together, or sometimes when you're waiting in the car and you know you'll have a little bit of a longer wait, this will be something that they could do in the car without having to worry about losing too many pieces. Another thing we do is always check the clearance when we're going to the stores that we know carry games. So for us, one of our local grocery store does carry board games, and so we'll always check there if we can find any. But if you're going out to Walmart or Target, those kind of stores that always carry games, we always try to check the clearance first and see if they have any there or if there's any on sale. Another great inexpensive way to kind of collect games and get some more in your home is going to the Dollar Tree. We have found some really great games that we've never played before and have become really fast favorites, and some really simple games that my kids surprisingly really loved, and I was pleasantly surprised. One of those games is these little, this is the pond, and then behind it you can see they're those little plastic jumping frogs, and you have to press them so that the frog will jump into the pond. And they have different colors, and you can work as a team or you can work individually. But this game was from the Dollar Tree, and I mean, this has lasted us about a year, and we are rough on our stuff, so that is a milestone in itself. But this game has been so much fun. When we were in a small apartment, they would play down the hallway in our apartment because we just really didn't have that much room for them, and it was so much fun. I smile because I can still remember the laughing that happened from this game and them playing so far down the hallway to get these frogs into this pond. But this was such a great fun game, and at the time it was only $1. If you go now and you can find it, it'll probably be $1.25, but still completely worth it in my book. This was a random game that we found from the Dollar Tree. This is Burger Pile Up. It's a number stacking game. This one kind of teaches the kids number value. The goal of the game is to get 10 numbered burger toppings from lowest to highest, and you win. The trick there is that it has to be in order, and so as you get cards, you kind of have to make sure that you get them in order and that you don't get too high of a card put down first, because then you can't stack any on top of it. So this one's a fun game. This is one that my littles have been playing This is one that my littles have been playing with each other and really enjoyed it. I will say though that we did start the game not with the full 10 cards at one time. We just shortened it and did 5 cards. So just to kind of introduce the game to them. Other fun games we found that were inexpensive at the Dollar Tree, I keep in here. They have these card games, and sometimes you can get lucky and find 3 of the cards stacked in one, and then you get the whole all 3 sets for $1 or $1.25. This container is also from the Dollar Tree. I haven't seen them lately. This is a soap. I think they call them a soap container. Sometimes they have them in the organization stuff as well. I haven't seen them lately at our local Dollar Trees, but I know that they do sell them online as well, and so you can take a look there if you can't find them at yours. But this is just a great little container to keep them in here. And playing cards fit great in here. So like I said, sometimes you can find more than one card game in a stack, in a kit, and buy them all together. This one I was able to fit, I think, 2 games in here. One is a build a word game, so you have to match up the cards. To make a complete word. So this is a great, fun, simple game for the kids. And then in there, it also came with shapes and colors. It was a Go Fish game, so that was one that also came in the pack. And then this one is a 1, 2, 3 matching game. So you match the numbers with the number of animals or objects on the other one. And this was a matching game. And so all 3 of these games came together in one pack. And then I just took them out of the boxes and cut them. Let me see if the camera will pick it up how I've done that. I just kind of cut the front part off and kept it in here. And then all 3 of them fit in one of these little containers. I also have a container like this for regular old playing card games, and I know that I talked about playing card games and all the different card games you can play with that are fun for your home as well. You can get playing cards for like 99 cents, and there are so many great games to be had in that, so many learning numbers you can do with it. I will try to find the video where I talk about it a little bit more and link it for you if you'd like to see it. In this container, we also have a card games from the Dollar Tree, and these are their Bible trivia games. Like I said, if this is not something that your family believes in or is of interest to you, then you of course can skip these, but I really like that this is an option that they have there as well. And then one more thing that I want to mention that is really fun to do is to make your own board game. So this, as you can see, is a complete kit, but you absolutely do not need one of these. We just happened to get one of these, and as you can see, we've been saving it up. The kids have been making some prototypes of games that they want to play, and if you want to see more about that, let me know down in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to share with you kind of our journey on making our own games and what kind of games we've come up with and what kind of games are in the process as well. But this is really fun. It comes, this kit comes with the box with the lid, so you can put it away in, a blank board game, 6 colored pawns, 56 blank cards, 1 blank die, and then a blank spinner. And so you can create your own game. But like I said, you absolutely don't need this. My daughter has created her own game with just a spare piece of cardboard. Now we are blessed enough to have space where we can spread out a little bit more, and so we have created a life-size game for the kiddos as well, and that is tons of fun. I cannot wait for spring and summer to come around and the warmer weather so we can get playing some games outdoors. We don't have very many outdoor oversized games, but that is definitely something on our wish list because I think that would just be tons of fun for the kids to have. Not just the kids, but us. I honestly am so looking forward to gaining some of those games as well. I think it just, oversized games brings a whole different element of fun to it. But I hope that you enjoyed some of these games that we shared with you today. I cannot wait to see what everybody else is sharing. I know there's going to be tons of information, so make sure that you check out the playlist. I will also link that down below. And thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to some of the games that my family enjoys playing. If you're not already subscribed, you may want to consider becoming part of our small YouTube family. It would be really appreciated. Here on my channel, like I said, we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, faith, fitness, and anything really that falls in between there. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much. It is so appreciated that you are spending your time with us. Thanks again for watching. You're so appreciated.